collaborative. Okay, good evening, and thank you for coming to this. I don't know what it is. I think it's an experiment we're doing for the first time. And most of you, I think, have been to Toulon before. Some of you, this is the first time. So most of you that have been here, you know that Toulon is kind of an experiment. It always works on something different, try and find a new, explore a new territory. So this is also one of those maps, and this happens spontaneously because I think we were in Luna, okay, so nowhere, and we decided to move on. So I think even this is became the path. Anyway, I hope this is like we can look at calling one thing like difficult, but this will be like kind of an open and spontaneous talk. Nothing formal or too academical like with the university. So, and British of State University Turkey, well, actually. So yeah, go series of things on architecture. I think they made it a very good idea to use this famous architect are coming to work in Albania. Uh, like it's a new window, as I said, kind of experimental talks where we talk about work, process, fashion. We want to connect music, and we want to find out where comes the creative process, where come the ideas, and who knows what else, depends on the night. So we are very honored to start the series with Hector Barroso, a remarkable architect from Mexico. His studio is in Mexico City. Now he lives also between Mexico City and Madrid, coming closer to Albania deliberately because he is now working in Albania. So I'd like to also, before we continue, our guest also, Lina Greta, with, I'm going to have to say with you about, I don't know, she's, another thing, she's very strict and organized and things, but she gave me a script. I never remember the script, I always improvise. You have to be like, to learn from architects. Yeah, so. Yeah, sort of things. I'm an English man, I'm a paper man. And Jenny Film. So we will be talking about something professional, but architecture, and also about creative ideas also in music. So maybe Adina wants to like to start. Yeah, thank you, Adnan, for hosting us tonight in this beautiful place. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Hector, for so positively, in a very good spirit, saying that is so a crazy idea, so spontaneous idea, and joining us here today to talk about architecture, music, and other experiences. I'm very glad we are doing this new series here in this place with very particular heart to us because it feels already that we can talk knowledge, the academic space, even though me myself, I need always a script because I usually forget like what I have to say. So, and I might be reading sometimes. Sorry about that. But the idea tonight is, let's say, have a free talk with Hector and all of us to explore a little bit his architecture, but also his inspirations. Like, where does he get inspiration from? Your architecture, as we have observed, the farm has a unique kind of deep connection to light, matter, and to atmosphere. And this is where I'd like to begin from. Like it seems like you are very much inspired from landscapes. Like you put your architecture in the landscape. Where does this kind of sensitivity come from?
firstly, I would like to thank Alina for putting it together with this enormous passion uh, of how she does things. So I feel really uh, happy and comfortable. It really feels nice that you see the work that you put on things, and I truly appreciate it. And also the very appreciating musicians and friends that are here and that have helped me understand uh, better these beautiful countries and these people. It's been a little over a year or so that I've been working here, and it has happened so fast. Uh, but it has been, and it will continue to be, I think, an amazing experience. Um, so thank you all for being here. I really appreciate everyone that took there's some time away from doing all that stuff. From she's an acting guy. Um, and I also part of this uh, conversation. Um, I asked to be a little bit more informal because I'm a foreign speaker. To be truly honest, I don't know how to 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 talk about my work, and so this thing way more informal. It helps me a lot with the nervous, the So feel free to just interrupt from questions, whatever you feel like, because it helps me go through the process way more easier. So thank you again. And going back to the question, uh, I think it all starts with, I always say that architecture is about moments, different moments. Um, and when I'm thinking, I'm also thinking not just from the build uh, thing or phase, but also on the empty, on the negative space. So I think that's why I do some drawings, because I also uh, want to share with you not only these good pictures that you could all see on the internet or on Instagram or whatever, but also the process and my way of thinking and my way of putting things together and my own picture. And these kind of intuitive drawings just show the way that I try to think the process. And answering your question is again all about those moments. It could be an entrance or a door handle or a window or a patio, any space or a chance trajectory or a system. So that's all. So that's where I start. It's about those moments when you're like you're in that state and what it to you, what it is like the impact that it brings to you and trying to find the way out for your jobs. Reflect that rest to your identity. I have a very, very bad memory, which I stopped fighting and trying to remember things like that. Decided to let go. So I try to just put things in my mind, and then afterwards, when I start doing it, more of a intuitive thing. I just don't think much. I just start going, and then I think all the facts were say all the things that I can start pumping up those references, but I just continue going, but it's still something more intuitive things that I do. Then afterwards, maybe after some drawings and models and that, then afterwards, like, like talking with the people that I work with, and you start sharing things, and then afterwards comes another problem. But firstly, it's much intuitive.
When you're talking, we are talking on the background. There is a slideshow of the selected projects of Hector Barroso and his practice. So you can obviously maybe relate what Hector is talking about also with the pictures, and you can take some notes meanwhile and ask questions afterwards. I will continue with my script here, and I'm trying to like squeeze you a little bit to understand more, starting from the let's say big scale, from the landscape, and going back then to going into the details. Like when you first arrive at the site, what's happened to you in many countries, whether in Mexico, Spain, or Albania. What do you notice first? What attracts you first? Is it the light? Is it the is it the silence or the rhythms of the space and the sounds?
Yes. Well, firstly, I'm sure most architects like is the perfect material. I mean, it's the only one that's free, so we better make the best use of it. So I think it's everything, but it's also um, trying to understand where I will be working uh, more through talking with people. I arrive to a site, I mean, I get these first impressions of, the sensations of many things. If it's in the middle of a city or if it's in a forest or on a tree area. And then afterwards, I start thinking about materiality, what can be done with it. So I try to grasp any ideas of the context, but there are so many places that have no architectural concept, just plain, simple, beautiful places. And nowadays, I think the context is also beginning to forget the word include. Well, anyways, so it's that, and it's also trying to understand the way you feel it in a specific way. Because, and what's amazing is that I found a lot of similarity that I have in Mexico here in Albania. So that got me really excited because even though there might be some different palette of materials, but the way of building things, I think we are like maybe on the same page. Yes. Okay.
In the background, we used to have also some music, which is from a playlist that Hector has given to us, so we likes to listen to and to be inspired from. But we also and yeah, since
Antonio Sanchez, you told me about drama. Mexico plays a drama, and maybe some of you know, you saw the film Birdman. It's a movie with the drums. So it's a very nice soundtrack. Okay. So what do you know?
and I want to relate a little bit now to the music, like very quickly. Like your early house, and what we see, some of them we see them on the screen. So a very rhythmic rhythm and repetition of volumes, long shadows, or yards. How do you find the rhythm in any struggle? You explain a little bit about this decision. If you can, like we have students here in the audience, and let's say one of the reasons why we want to have these talks and these lectures is to bring the international architects that students in maybe newspapers or like in magazines or now online magazines, to bring them here close and to hear you talking to them, inspiring them. making them believe that one day they can be also in those magazines. So, like when you answer the questions, I will kindly ask you to read those questions.
Okay. Well, I would say to the students to not pay to be on the cover of American. To see yourself and the rest will accommodate. Uh, Also, don't do that because I was like you, like seriously, I was a student. Well, 20 years ago. But and I remember that seeing grade nine fired so much. Like I saw them and I believed that they were some kind of gods. I mean, that we're full of things that I would like to share more my mistakes and my that really make you believe that that we're special. We're simple architects and trying to work.
But you do beautiful buildings.
No, I know. Well, I'm trying. What I'm trying to say,
Always.
what I'm trying to say is just I am when I work, I try to completely completely honest with myself and my way of thinking. Because for me, architecture is a way that I can express myself. Maybe a painter when he draws, or a musician when he composes, or a writer when he writes, they express themselves through what they know how to do best. And I think I found a way of expressing myself through architecture. So what you see in the screen basically means trying to come up with ideas, but mostly to say things and to be completely honest and transparent with myself and with my clients and with the people that will come in those spaces. Maybe provoke a stage of church or a city that might just give them once. You know, we improve a day, an hour, the time that they pass through a building. But anyway, I deviated a little bit from the question.
It's important to talk about you, like your inspiration and the projects, how they are inspired. And I wanted to relate with your architecture, especially the architecture of the house, which is made up of different volumes that seem to have a rhythm for this, seem to have a rhythm in them. Like, yeah, the question was really about that, just to understand, like, uh, where that rhythm from, like, might it be because you listen to music with music, loud music, and you find kind of rhythm?
Yeah, I yeah, to be completely honest, I really don't know, but I think it has something to do with maybe a sequence. Maybe when I'm drawing, when I'm doing architecture, even when I'm visiting architecture, I try to imagine sequences, like campus. How would you this turn this way? What would you face? Turning the corner. How would what would do a hallway for being inside a patio? How would the light go through? We have a portrait in the middle of this spoiling, and how would they be able to show? And then try to avoid this, I think, hierarchy. Just avoid having a simple main uh, space. Trying to just think of the sequences, sequencing the rhythm and everything. So,
Maybe similar to how was it played?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. This is they can really say that architecture is close to art or doesn't have any connection at all. I mean, contemporary art. because I think it's close to graphic design, because when you design, you design for the client, you're connected. You cannot design something for yourself, because the product has to be used for the client. And also because now I'm in a phase that I understand what you're doing, because our friend also, Desi, is designed our villa that we are building now. And I am suffering, it's very hard work, and I see the problems all kind of, here, there's something wrong. I mean, apart from it's gonna cost you and everything, and you know, you are connected to the client. When you design something, or do you think of the way you're building it, or the space, or everything who's going to live there? So, I mean, I don't know. The question was also, is it art, or is it, also, I don't know.
Uh, I I think it would be pretentious if I try to say that architecture is art. I don't know. I maybe believe what I cannot say at least for a reason. What I can tell you is that a good building or a good space can make you feel the same feeling as when you see a good movie or when you see a good painting, and the same feeling that you get from those. So if you measured by feelings and by sensations that thing, then we might consider it art. But we're also doing a service.
Yes, that's good.
And we have to listen to the client. We have to get it to listen not only to the site but also to the client, because you're gonna know be the one that's gonna be there. So and I believe that success uh, of doing a house specifically is when you get into a home, when the result is a home, the house is home.
Yeah.
For that, I also to do with the client. So you can always hire a interior designer and for that. But like this space, this space, it feels like we're in a beautiful house and feels the atmosphere is amazing. But that's not only the architect with all that. It's you that putting the meal, that's all the bits. Well, yeah, of course, interaction. Everyone. So it could be
Some measure.
yeah, it could be on. You have this feeling, you have a it has happened when you visit this. I don't know the Pantheon in Rome. Wow, it's amazing. And then you go see a painting by Monet or whatever. You have expectation for both something. I don't know why you are being done that. That's amazing. So that in that matter, you could say you semi start or it start. But you also have to consider that we're not that free when we work.
I will continue in this thing on relating a little bit the talk to music, and looking at your images, the images of your projects here on the screen, you see that you have an area use of material. You use earth a lot. You use wood, concrete. And my question here would be, if you would give these materials, you would think of them as if they have musical qualities, how would you describe each one of them? Earth, uh, concrete, and
Well, I would say that I'm not uh, Romano. Romano. Well, I listen to music. I love music, but I'm not. I don't know that much music. But what I do know, or I feel that what my interpretation that music is also structure, rhythm. So if I can compare a club with something, I would say that yeah, that those materiality, because they're always the structure of the building that I try to when I think of a project that I'm working on, I think of it as a whole thing. I don't design the structure and I say, oh, I want to plan this on whatever. No, the material is the first thing that comes to my mind, and then so that would be translated into the structure of I refer the way to the translation of the partitura. No, so materiality structure starts giving meaning, start composing with those. I don't know if I've answered.
It's okay, like the curiosity to understand more of you and your experiences and these questions about, in this case, materials and music is a little bit to also tell the students to be honest, not tell that they talk about how important it is to have our passion when you become or become a practical. How the passion for music or passion for photography or passion for jazz, that's for cultures. How important that is shaping America. And so this is like this kind of talks my inspired which happens straight down.
Yeah, you're one of the
With get from me. And still result in the development and expecting students. It's like doing my years, and need to use discussions that are more related to
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Adelina. Thank you, Hector. This is a big responsibility, so I have to talk on behalf of the students and try to orient the discussion that way. But okay, I'll try to do my best. So, uh, I'm an everyday contact with students, so I'm involved intensively in teaching. And the question that comes always to my mind is, do we teach them right or wrong? We focus, I mean, in academia, we focus much about on the process of design more than the product. Although the students are more fascinated by the product than the process. And I can notice in your projects, okay, that you have a certain atmosphere. You transmit a certain feeling of the space, okay, which is for sure the result of a process, a specific one. So it's a secret in the process.
uh, I think that relates a little bit to the first thing that we talked. Just what I do is I try to be just honest in everything that I can. Honest with myself and honest with the architecture that I want to break, that I want to create. So I just think that again, trying to think of architecture the most sincere and simple way possible. One is made of concrete, so it's made of brick or whatever. But work with those materials and think of them and how will they age so many ways. Trying to come up with this, not that I want to compare myself or any building that I've done with the Pantheon or whatever, but try to grasp that timeless things, timeless architecture that they have. No, I also think when I'm designing, how would this look like a ruin? We have these magnificent places like that. Here also, I haven't been able to go visit, but for sure I will go soon because it's what I like the most, just watching these beautiful ruins and trying to imagine how life used to be there. And that also helped me a lot. I don't know, it's inspired me in so many ways. But I also imagine a building that I'm doing, how would it look if it were a ruin in 100 or 200 years? Will it be completely obsolete, or will the structure also? So that's why I do so much attention to the structure. The program of the building might change. You know, we see this especially here also Europe. You see these amazing churches that were built long ago that now are libraries, or they can different programs, but they still have these beautiful I don't know, jail or atmosphere or sense that it doesn't matter the program, but the space is what resonates or what program space from the so answering your question, I just try to be completely true to myself and try to fight and to stick to that all the way through, because then you have to go through the client and through the contractor and through so many things that might push you into other direction. So you have to stick to what you believe and push it as much as you can.
It's fair enough. I mean, I think this is exactly what we do wrong here. We push students, okay, to do what we want, and in a certain way, okay, we shape their path. So I don't know if you suffered this as
yes, and maybe that's why I was such a bad. I wasn't a good student. My university was, and I say this all the time, it was a bad university. So, but what
the universities can produce very nice arguments.
because what I did is I was a little bit bored, and the university was very bad, but I had time to do other things. And I am very curious person, and I try really to teach myself in the library or reading books or whatever, and I have time to do different things, like to go for a beer with friends, to talk with different friends that were studying different things. Like in Mexico, at least we had been that studying architecture meant 5 years of no living, no weekends, nothing. My wife is also an architect, and she ended up one time in the hospital because she had some stomach pain because she was awake for 3.5 days. And that's absurd. So the university didn't, it was a bad university, but I had some other stuff that helped me grow many different ways that led to be inside a classroom, sleeping on a sleeping bag on the kitchen floor. It's not the rulings. And we were starting to then we talked about a teacher and really reached that. I think the student teachers are really critical because he's a so curious guy. You know? So I try to surround myself with all kind of people and will be curious about everything. Not the architecture.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, you came in a certain way of giving my second question. Seriously, so, I was trying to ask you what should be an architect beyond being an architect, beyond the disciplinary way of doing life. I mean, what else, what other experiences are important that they can shape an architect in performing well?
Everything. The drawing back. Talk to friends, have a wine, taking the couch, listen to music, or go to an exhibition, simple things, take a walk, be a tourist in your own city, just enjoy life.
Oh, I mean, that's easy to do. I mean,
Well,
although we overwork, we work the long hours, like always few hours to spend of having concentrations. Yeah, okay, let me ask you something else. I mean, in many cases, okay, we have influences in architecture. I mean, we can't skip that. I mean, it's a nice building, okay, so we want to learn from that. But in very few cases, we have architects that can build their own identities, can do something different from others, and be distinguishable. And of course, we can do this by making mistakes, but do you believe that it's important to build a known identity in architecture, or just not experiment so much in order to make less mistakes?
oh, you can experiment. Experiment. But as I said before, be true to yourself. What you want to say. Just that. You want to experiment? Do it. Of course. And, and always put yourself above the issue. But you don't have to fight trying to get an identity. Because what's an identity? What
That's a good question.
it's an abstract thing. It's not that you cannot touch it. But it's like that. Yes, but I mean, I keep making my work, but every time I come up with maybe I experiment in my we're just working on with runner in the north Mexico, and well, experimenting also means learning, and I'm very fond of learning every day, every time. So we go on the next time. Never stop learning. So
Yeah, I agree with this. Okay, let me make my fourth question. Okay, so this is about context. I mean, you work in Mexico, you work in Spain, I mean, work in Albania, okay, so you have different experiences. Do you think that context is crucial in shaping the design, or you think that the tools are the same?
that's a great question. I was just thinking, uh, because that's what I mentioned to you, that context nowadays, we need to be a little bit blurred, because things happen. So one context, what did you sell? No, at least for myself, I try to be open, try and feel things, the context, of course, but and it gives you information that may not be able to grasp at the moment. But later on, you can come back when when you're going, remember from context. But again, it's also listening to different ways of constructing what materials are available here or there. What do they do? How do they do it? And that is also being part of the context of understanding and not trying to bring something from Mexico all the way here to advantage of try to bring from Mexican architecture that doesn't work. Have to work with where you're working on it. I'm sure that the things that I was doing here by myself is significant. Something because I wanna bring Mexican architecture as well, not Mexican architecture, it's not Albanian, just architecture, everything. So just put it there and they did that since work locally. So good. For many Americans, bring something to your life. It's here in the area. I don't know what it's maybe.
So you don't have expectations for architecture. I mean, you just try to shape it within the given conditions.
Yeah. Okay.
No, so go back to the program.
Well, as you wish.
No, I know what.
Yes. I wanted to give mention they wanted to Hector because here go
Picture that I think that as I told you before, every time I saw uh, I feel the same way that we do things in Mexico that we well very like you're very Mexican in that way. You welcome someone treating the best way possible that you can and that resembles how how we people in Mexico try to be different. So and you know what really this particular time that I'm here and I when I booked my I didn't have anything scheduled. I said I want to go with but for a couple of days. I know that when I get there, everybody will want to have meetings, have a meeting and stuff. So it was I don't know, it's a thing. It's just especially the you guys have very great um, welcome. I don't know why, but it feels very flattening. So have a well way. And also the first time that I was here, I walked a lot around the city just to clear my mind and to see. There were some parts that I said, oh, I might be working this, I might watch the spirit of Mexico because I don't know many things. Uh, and things that really nurture a city, you know, informality, which are tons of informal transfer as well. So you can have a Mexico. But it's also part of it. It's also important. It's all those little things that can compose or to make a city livable and walkable. And also the construction methods are a lot different. And that is truly appreciated because I was doing a project in the United States and nothing can be done. Truly, they don't like everything, single thing. They're about industrialize things all over the world. It's still very, very complex and you have to adapt, but it's very difficult. They're in a way that how do you say that essential that we have both shared Albania and Mexico that we're not that choosy. What do you say? That that is the most valuable thing that we can have. And I can't hear always why I'm so enthusiastic working through to and doing that energy.
So pleasure. You mentioned the earth that is next, right? But could it be that you would bring some Mexico here to Albania? Who's related will make our futures and you will we don't have experience with the red earth in some of that experience. Do you see that as part of the experience that we will
Seems to be uniform to the human, because it's not Mexican, and it's uh, everything has been used for thousands of years by construction, um, method. I don't know when does production of does that interest building that way, but it can be. I think it can be built almost everywhere because uh, we know we find soil here, mixture and do the lake running, which in some other countries beautiful by neighbor homes and that was I think it's and it's also great here that you also want to do things. You're not like, okay, this is what we can do and let's not jump out of the box. You want to not just not just formal, but more in a material sense. We can go, yes, we can it will be very, very great to start experiencing and trying to do construction or natural construction or simple construction that is proven that would last a lot more than the plastic fabric we cannot make first.
so goes around which is and instead and also breathing. How do you decide which one to prefer? When we look at this species and look at the term or any of this
First time I worked with around there, it was in the northwest part of Mexico, which is kind of a desert climate. Around there is great. Thermicals, yeah, particularly gastro stuff like that. And after a while, we were doing a house on another place, Mexico, completely, completely used and sometimes it was building and it was inside a forest. And I said, why don't we try it? And in a different way, we can use different material, but the technique we run there, it's the same. So I got to know a contractor that worked perfectly with that, and we did it in another climate and context. So what I learned is you're able to do it. If you learn the product and the specific needs of that place, you'll be able to do it in different places. Uh, and also, again, I've only experienced render with housing in small ones. I actually were up to now unable to go very high. So that would be concrete for different for structural. And I think it's what I also have done houses out of concrete, so it's, you know, just not somewhere into and that's really when line comes into the facility might change and people I cannot take the picture between what's the renewal.
Personally,
Oh, which you mentioned. We're gonna go out and sit down. You mentioned this word between Mexico and Albania. I was thinking, it's something I was always amazed by your tradition, how you honor the dead. Because you speak about death in your culture, I think, more in Western Europe. Because I think that love and death are all connected and they're one life. And but here in Albania, we speak about love, but not about death. We leave it kind of, we respect it. We are almost afraid of it. We leave it far. We don't want to deal with it. But I think, especially now, when this times that we are living now, which are strange, which I think, sometimes we say we are civilized as humans, but we pass so many years and we still follow one leader, and he tells you have to kill this guy, you have to bomb this guy for this country, and we go on. So we are still, I think, we are primitive. And so when you think about them, that puts you on the ground, and makes it completely different. If you think about life and everything else, you think differently. I think spiritually you're on the ground and you're more empathetic and more, I think, more civilized. So, I mean, does this affect you? I mean, and as a Mexican, you are not only Mexican now, you live all over the world. The world citizen. So, is this negative way you deal with your
Yes, sure. Uh, that is one of the most beautiful traditions that we have in Mexico. I myself personally am like I try to put that far away. But we have this great tradition. We say this kind of this celebrate it, which is truly great. And every second of November, uh, almost the whole country burns something different. Specific part of the cities uh, are so magnificent. How they turn around and how they celebrate that the dead, and I always lived around that since I was a kid. So I don't know the exact impact that has produced on me. I don't know how to translate it into a word of a sentence, but I'm sure that it has a lot to do with not only that, the traditions, and also, uh, all this, uh, because it also has to do with family. How we relate to the family members, how we stick together as family. So it also has a lot of that. So,
that is super related and the families of it.
another thing that, uh, so we keep doing that. I mean, no matter what happens, uh, in Mexico, the particularly regional, right now is going to what said, the security is almost like happens around, uh, many things, all over the country, all that. So, but we continue to celebrate there. We continue to stick together because people that are countries that they keep pushing you and against those little things that are are making the country free. Like, so I believe that we didn't have the insecurity thing that we have in the transitory because we would have been. It's very different. I don't want to get.
On the album, maybe that, when you're open to friends.
Hoping that even bore you a lot.
I'm going to now with the mic, because we need to record. What is it?
I see this sort of, and that's what we're talking with my colleague. You can notice bits and elements of Louis Kahn and this sort of introverted space, but also from Louis Barroso, sort of the depth in materiality. But I'm really interested in the part, perhaps where the sketches becomes projects, how you define continuity, how you sort of, but also in this sketch, for example, it's like you can see. I mean, it's something that my Recon might have sort of thought about. Sort of this deep, uh, deep interest in the sort of type of space that you try to create. And almost you can sort of understand that this space has this kind of character. I don't know, or like we can't talk about or like see building to see a space you would sense that this space has this function. And you can see in your project that all the projects has this sort of deep sort of sense of place, being in some kind of
Uh, well, I think it's a back and forth process. So by the end, we also do, which now that we're saying, I think it's you have to do it on the presentation, 3D model. We work on a 3D model. Just sketch 3D model and the program for the time. In order, uh, so I don't think it's a linear process that from one day, one B, it's just like go back and forth, something changes. Uh,
I have a question for the background. When is the point of spot section? Like on the process of your drawings with similar gestures, but then like you sketch also the details. I think like we're missing that. Like how do you then is like approach like the detail? You still go with sketching or like you
Yes.
other like effects?
No, we never stop it. Then the construction site sketches come again. They're different because they need tons of information, technical information, and that is are very abstract in many ways. So it's got a high level of maybe somebody doesn't understand it, you know, companies. So these kind of problems are basically for myself, quite understand what I'm thinking. Then afterwards, uh, we try to create some information on top of that, create the plan or whatever we draw for the more sorrow, or this feeling. What you wanna, what it's always, it never ends. The way, and sometimes uh, even after the project is finished, there's this great, I don't want to share great experience that I had with a friend. It's happened when was it ended? Um, he got together with his sister and his mother, and they asked me out for them. We did the house, finished the house, and they invited me over for dinner, lunch, lunch. They say, "Oh, okay, now that we have finished, we're really like it, so happy, and well, tell us and be honest. What would you do with yourself?" And I said, "Okay, I will be completely honest. I will do it all over, all over. It's just gone bad." He said, "Oh, no, don't, we're serious." I said, "No, really." Because it's never ends. The process, you learn as you go through, and afterwards you say, "Oh, maybe it's true that it's different." So there's always, but you just have to make decisions in the process of making a different decision in the middle or at once. The beginning might have very differently. So that's how life is, how to make it. So, okay. But I think the world was
These are the best artists, the ones that do not say, I did it right, the ones that keep on searching all the time.
but yeah, yeah, there. Like, uh,
Dedication.
probably no, but I think again, honesty, also in materiality. As I said, I think of a material or a structure or a beam or a slab or whatever, and it is what it is. No, I don't try to cover things up. Even these days, there was this time in the site where there were they met up with the concrete purity and the concrete passed on fragment, And they said, "Okay, we'll turn down and do it again." And I said, "Oh, this is wasn't that bad." Don't change it. So just make sure the water was uh but yeah, I think it's yeah, that's all like the reality. Reality. Every time it's like there's more about it, the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm designing and running through those sketches, even though it doesn't appear to be that clear, those sketches also have implicit material or things to say. And then it might change later. I'm not saying that if I make the decision on the first day, first or whatever, doesn't it can change throughout the process. But uh, it's just that I think that simple material uh, age better, way better. So by picking those simple materials, natural materials, uh, you get half of work done. It's like it's racing and just letting it be what it needs to be. That the rest is just you assemble this correct things already and not too much of this or that. Couple of things you mix and go like that.
Then different habit, approaching with this confidence. Or about that, your plans for the attempt to describe and realize the business and going back to what the need was since the beginning I found. I'd like to give a statement of messaging this aspect of your role. If you how you
Uh, Thank you. Well, I cannot tell you exactly how it impacts. What I can tell you is how I behave using something about that. Having the bad memory that I have, I sometimes I can't remember even this is something great yesterday. My mind is the name or this about that. What it's there's always music in my studio that I always first things I do in the morning is I prepare myself a coffee, coffee, okay? And I turn on the record player that and I put some mostly classical music and jazz for it to be melodious for it to and that's how I work. But I am also very fond of uh, many different types of music. I was just seeing on my way here a documentary about a great Mexican singer um, who had been a great voice but also composing. He's very popular, like everybody loves him. And now seeing that, watching how he lived his life, he died in 2016. Uh, and as I was watching, because he paid his almost all his life, not just in the stage, but also his personal life, with family and stuff. And at the end, I said, what an amazing guy, because even though at the end he knew he was sick, or maybe he knew he would die soon. He still came into the stage and gave all singing. So I said, that's the passion that I want having until I'm able to continue working on. I don't want to stop, but not only stop, having also that passion. So, and it's not only in architecture. You see it in a good painter or in a good writer or anyone who does that. failure, whatever. Anyone who's done things with tremendous value, apart from obviously having failures, factors, whatever we got with, but all of that, just so I don't know your question, but I deviated a little bit. It's just that I'm not that fond of going into concerts because I'm a very shy person and so I'm not a very good dancer and so I don't enjoy that much going into concerts, but I fully enjoy music. So every time I can, I turn on the radio or play or whatever, and I listen to many types of music. There's good music and there's bad music, but I think in everything was yeah. I think the background character. You correct it.
But the more the great drug, such as something.
It's when it didn't go that good. I put those music and I just turn the voice off and just say, okay, this was listening in a very loud
Is it
for 10 minutes and then
alcohol?
well everything. Radiohead feel more different sometimes. Whatever. Mexican rock, whatever. And then here, so I have almost this many like because I log into my headphones and so I hate airports. So I try to distract the
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi. Hello. Nice to do. So, we are not I'm a folk musician with people on the drum, and that's I come from the field. And it's the and how good for the profession to the one wants to go and you dress it down all of them knowledge here
Sure.
your sauce will be like with and it's very good to when we can see to this uh and remove it, the right of person that went from the one in good sense. And even the big profession is very lonely with you and your work, you have to find it very, really, I really enjoy the combination. And what I know is also with you, with the artists, you will see you are collaborating in your work. The insights, I think, and your work reflects your humbleness and the personality is not a humble, is really outward. It's very close to your work. Very so power. You saw most of the time. Very nice, very bold. Yes, you and one knowledge of and because that's hours and then I just very
It is just that spreadsheets the first stuff yeah, no what. So we chat aside.
with my person gone. And you know what challenge or a blind and bit of problem quite different.
It's always a challenge because powers are very steep and uh, the difficult part is not the height, it's the ground because the important thing is how it will relate whether you're around or how will people interact because we're not gentle. We're not gentle. We're by well, so yeah, yeah, I will always see the view. We always more attention. Yeah. That's how the downloads for it. The comments of the project is based on the ground and how it affects people that want to do around. That kind of has visualization is quite one of the things.
Am I allowed to answer? There related also to a question that clearly asked for about on-premise architecture can be or cannot be linear or mechanical. So that tower is also another context is in Tirana. Compared to maybe places, other places in Mexico where the land is vast and the clients can go horizontally. The clients here in Tirana have very small plots of land. And the only thing that they can do is go vertically. So the client is probably has asked you to, yeah, you go for a factory over again. And like architects have to respond to clients. They don't have the chance to say no, I don't want that client. I'm not responding to that brief. But what architects can do is to respond to certain brief the best possible way they can. So that's why they accept a challenge because they think they can do it better than somebody else who might respond also to that challenge. So at least this is my perspective as a non-architect or non-practicing architect. But yeah.
They maybe I didn't think to be. Yeah.
Well, giving Hector like all the credits and thankfulness for being here talking to us. He didn't think about music when he bought his ticket to Tirana this time. It was us making him think about architecture and music because we wanted to have this experiment. Yeah, because of yeah. Okay. But maybe next time you come here, maybe you will give most of those answers well.
Yeah, sure.
And also play an instrument.
And that's also what because that's why I insisted on improvising. They then if you overthink and you feel right everything, then you prepare for the answer better because they get out loud and face.
Yeah, like very much that Patos took the microphone and said these beautiful words. Because yeah, it means a lot from the perspective of a non-architect and somebody that has not followed, let's say, our series of lectures before, to like listen the appreciation of this improvised talk. And I'm glad that you like it. I hope everyone has liked, especially this setting, because we want to continue doing this thing and with more national art. Before closing it, I wanted just to like very briefly wrap up what I learned from this discussion and from what you talked here, because we have talked many more times before. that it is very important to become an architect. It is very important first to build character in order to be a good architect that creates always the architecture, the works of architecture that have character. One should have character of its own because whatever is there is a reflection of you, as you also observed. And we don't know what teachers, professors we might encounter at school. I have also my very bad memories when I was a student. But it is very important that you become like a self-learner. If you pursue your own path, nevertheless, you will find something beautiful out there. Highly intellect or outside in the world, family,
Curiosity. Also, uh, I didn't have the teacher that I have here. Is the architects that are teaching, especially my friend that I would have loved to have a teacher like him back in the day. Then I would have had a very different experience. So I think that it was just my experience when you talking about that night. So that because it was what happened, that wasn't well over the truth. I forgive my own past. But I think it could also great that they're very architects here and they're great teachers and they're very curious about it. You could also take advantage of people.
and one never stops learning, no? Right? And I also want to like since we talked about education and we are in this place where there is this beautiful letter. I would like to point it out to students. It's fair enough to say sometimes look to admit that protest against the education system as well. So thank you, Hector. And so we smell something in the air. Yeah? Thank you, everybody.
Like